So you found the home of your dreams, you put in the offer, your offer was accepted, and now you're thinking, what do I do now? Well, you, my friend, came to the right spot. How's it going, everyone? Matt Leighton, and welcome back to another real estate video. Hey, if this is your first time here, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you always stay up to date on the latest video. Okay, so in this video, we're gonna go through the 10 things that you need to do once you go under contract. Once you open escrow, once you do whatever the thing it's called in your specific market, where the buyer and the seller both sign that purchase agreement, whatever that's called, these are the 10 things that you need to do. Number 1 is don't celebrate. Guys, the fun part is just beginning. There is still so much work that has to be done to get you to settlement and to get you there on time with no delays. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen those videos online of the track and field athletes celebrating, arms in the air, and they still have like 100 more meters to go? They end up losing, they get caught and they're celebrating prematurely. That's not gonna happen to you. Don't celebrate prematurely. Now, if you want to have a nice glass of wine or maybe one adult beverage, weekend soda, cerveza, that's Spanish for beer. Yeah, go for it. Have that one drink, but then it's back to work because there's a lot of work that needs to get done. All right, so the second thing you need to do is to write out all your contingencies. Your contract might be contingent on 1 to maybe even 6 items. So what you want to do is to write out each one of these in your calendar. The most common items that contracts are contingent upon are things like the home inspection, financing, appraisal, and the HOA condo doc review period. So by writing them out in your calendar, what you're doing is you're backtracking and you're planning ahead so that none of these sneak up on you, so that you don't go into default. Guys, remember, these contingencies run concurrently. They run at the same time. So as soon as that contract is signed, the clock is ticking. Number 3 is EMD. Here in the state of Virginia, the earnest money deposit is usually deposited within 3 days after the contract has been ratified. So once you have an accepted contract, you should expect your agent to reach out to you to get your earnest money deposit if they don't have it already. Now, the earnest money deposit is usually in the amount of 1 to 3% of the sales price. Guys, I've already done a video on the earnest money deposit. You can check it out if you haven't seen it already. And one more thing, guys, if you need to move money around, different accounts, I get it, but just be sure that the money is there when the check is deposited. No one wants the title company to call you to tell you that your check is bounced. That's not a good way to start this process off, right? So be sure the money is there for the EMD. Guys, I don't know what that was. I'm sorry. I'm never going to do that again. Well, anyway, speaking of contingencies, number 4 is the home inspection contingency. Most of your contracts will have a home inspection contingency. We want to schedule this immediately. Most timeframes for this are going to be 7 days, maybe 5 days, maybe 10 days, call it 7 days. But the reason we want to schedule this sooner, immediately, is because if we were to wait those 10 days, well, you're going to be paying other fees, not associated with the home inspection, but with the appraisal, with the termite, other fees associated with the home buying process, that if you get that report back after 10 days and it's terrible, you've already come out of pocket with all these other expenses and then you're going to back out. We don't want that. We don't want you to put in an offer, pay the fees, then back out, put in the offer, pay. We want you to move forward once you're comfortable with the home inspection. That's why it's so important to do this first. Make sure you're comfortable, move ahead, knock out this contingency, and then pay those fees that you only want to pay once that are non-refundable. And guys, if you also wait 10 days to do the inspection, well, what if the inspector gets sick? What if they don't send you the report on time? Guys, be timely about it and schedule the inspection ASAP. The 5th thing you're gonna need to do as soon as you go under contract is to get your lender on speed dial. Guys, contracts usually fall apart for one of 2 reasons. First being the home inspection, and the second being financing. Let me tell you, buyers love to spend 4 hours on Zillow looking at properties that they can't afford. But God forbid a lender ask for one document. Oh my goodness, I don't have time for this. Is this form really necessary? Oh, my friend Johnny who bought a house 25 years ago didn't have to have this form. All right, guys, let's take a step back. Lending has become so regulated that pretty much every single lender is going to need pretty much the same documents from you. And since you're a well-informed buyer, you will have been working with your lender before you go under contract, so that when you do go under contract and you are moving forward, you're already going to have a game plan and you're already going to know the documents that you need to provide. Number 6 is to stay in touch. Pretty much every problem is a communication problem. Now is not the time to go on vacation. Now is not the time to take 3 days to reply to an email. The owner, title company, lender, appraiser, home inspector, real estate agent, everyone is working to get you to settlement and to get you there on time. Don't throw a wrench into this by becoming unresponsive. If no one can get a hold of you, well, that's just going to cause an issue for everyone. Guys, I've closed deals where the seller was in California, seller was in Europe, in Hawaii, and let me tell you, if a seller can sign a closing document and find a notary public on the North Shore, then you, as a buyer, can reply to emails within 24 hours. Is that fair? I think that's fair. Number 7 is to get the estimated cost of closing from the title company as soon as you can. My goal is to help you understand every single line item and what you're paying for because, well, I don't need a because. My goal is to help you understand, right? That's all there is to it. There's no other reason behind it. Guys, settlement can take 40 minutes. Settlement will take 40 minutes and it's stress-free. And if anyone tells you it takes longer than an hour and it's stressful, they screwed up. Listen, I get it. I've sat through settlements that have taken 4 hours and I'll do it. We went to another room, 3 more closings came in and out, and then we went back to the room and kept reading line by line item. Guys, there has to be a more efficient way, right? There has to be a better way. And when you get this estimated cost of closing, you go through all the numbers, you understand what the congestion relief pays for. I'll give you a hint, not congestion on I-66 because it doesn't work, but you understand all of this before closing. Closing is not stressful. If you pay attention, if you do your due diligence, go out there, get the estimated cost of closing before settlement. Number 8 is to think logically, not emotionally. Let me tell you what I mean. I was just working with my clients. They were selling their condo, buying a townhouse at the same time, perfectly standard. So we get the inspection report and addendum from the buyers that are purchasing my client's condo, and it just has the smallest things ever on it, right? Resurfacing, recaulking, tightening of fixtures, and my sellers are like, oh my goodness, what? I'm offended. It's 2017, everyone's offended. They were literally offended that someone could even ask for items of this minutia. Meanwhile, those same clients that were buying the townhouse, we do the home inspection, and when we submit that addendum, what do you think's on it? Oh, resurfacing, recaulking. Oh, we're just gonna put this in and we're gonna see if they'll accept it. No, guys. What are we doing here? You're not allowed to call them words. You're not allowed to call them 4-letter words if you're doing the exact same thing. What I literally like to just take a step back. I'm against the wall, but I've taken a step back, analyze it rationally. Are they being reasonable? Maybe, maybe not. Does everyone want the transaction to close? Yes. So take a step back, look at it logically. I talked to these clients, they said, yeah, we get it. We're kind of seeing both sides, but believe me, it took a little bit more than 5 words to say that. But guys, take a step back, think logically, because when it all comes down to it, buying a home is emotional. This is your family. These are your kids. You're going to be making memories here. This is a big deal. But take a step back, think logically, and don't get too emotionally invested. Number 9 is to check in with the title company, lender, and real estate agent. Let me tell you another quick story. I usually work with a local lender where after I send them the ratified agreement, don't even talk to them, no emails, no phone calls, because I know they have a team in place and they will contact me if something goes wrong. Alternatively, I've also worked with a lender that I don't work with anymore because I called that lender twice a week for 3 weeks with no response after one of my deals went under contract. Turns out that mortgage officer quit 2 days after the deal was ratified. So that contract was just sitting in his inbox for 3 weeks. We're 3 weeks behind schedule. Moral of the story is always understand where each party is at the transaction. Your real estate agent should give you steps and should give you kind of a path of what to expect next, as should the title company, as should your lender. So you almost want to get to the point of over communication. Don't get there. Don't be that person that emails every 6 hours and says, hey, what are we up to now? Don't get there. But always let everyone know that you're going to be on top of communication to make sure that all is well. And number 10 on the list of things to do once you go under contract is to schedule your final walkthrough for a week before closing. Now, if you're closing in 45 days, maybe it doesn't make sense to immediately open up your calendar and schedule your final walkthrough. But the reason I say this now is because a lot of times people are focusing on the financing, on the appraisal, on the home inspection, which you definitely should. But then the final walkthrough is forgotten about until the day before closing, 2 days before closing, or God forbid, on the way to closing. Guys, do the walkthrough a week before. Don't do it the morning of closing. Oh, something's wrong, settlement's delayed. Don't do that. The reason we do it a week before is to have that wiggle room to make sure that everything is the way it should be. And guys, if the seller is in the process of moving out close to closing, be sure to do your final walkthrough after they've moved out all their belongings. All right, so there you have it, the top 10 things that you need to do once you go under contract. What do you think, guys? Did I miss anything? Do you want to add anything? Would love to hear from you. Be sure to drop me a comment in the comment section below if you want to add your input or if you think I missed out on anything. Okay, thanks again for watching. Until next time, create a productive day. Take care.